Hello again. I'm going to talk about my journey into atheism. How did I become an atheist? Because some people think I was born into atheism. My mom and dad are like scientists or something. Basically, what happened was I was born to the Catholic Church, and I was baptized as a baby in the Catholic Church, as far as I know. And then I was raised in the Baptist Church, the Christian Baptist Church, where I later on was baptized as a teenager. I decided to have a relationship with Jesus, and I was baptized as a teenager. Now, my church was composed predominantly of my family, and what further solidified my belief in Jesus was that my uncle was a preacher, and most of my family members were in the same church. So it was kind of like being part of closer to the family. So my love for the family was easier in terms of having that also be my love for Jesus. So, and I felt that the love that I received from my family, or that the relationship I had with my family, Jesus was responsible for that. And so I became Christian. Then around age 18, 16 I was baptized, age 18 I went to college, and I joined a club in the college. It's called the Alpha Omega Club, that was also Christian. That was not on purpose. Alpha Omega sounded like a fraternity club, and when I joined, I found out it was religious. And I did it mostly because I wanted to date and get into a relationship. And so I entered the Alpha Omega Club as a way to make friends and to date and so on. Now, what happened was that that was a different type of denomination of a church. They believed in the Baptist Church, the predominant belief is as long as you believe in Jesus and accept Jesus as your personal Savior, you're saved. In that particular church, in the college that I encountered, it's called the Church of Christ. Not only did you have to believe in Jesus and love Jesus, but you had to read the Bible and know Jesus. So we had to have Bible studies almost every day. We were tested, we were questioned. It was part of the social construct of that particular church, in which the more you knew about the Bible, the cooler you were. So if you talked about verses that you read and things that you learned from the Bible, you were the cool guy in the group. So it's a lot of social peer pressure to learn the Bible. And so I was thrust into reading the Bible and learning the Bible and becoming a Christian from reading the Bible, as opposed to just basing it on, okay, I have a love for Jesus and I accept Jesus as my personal Savior. So this group encouraged me to learn about God and read the Bible. Eventually I became Baptist in their church, and I left the Baptist church and joined the Church of Christ, which was a non-denominational church which emphasized predominantly reading the Bible. As I continued to read the Bible, I started to learn more about, my particular religion, and it is at that point that I started to have questions, doubts, because I started to actually learn what was actually written in the particular religion. And the questions that I had were not answered by the church clergy. So not only did I and a friend of mine leave the church, necessarily we didn't leave the church because we left Christianity. We left the church because we felt it was insufficient to answer our questions. So why are we attending a church that didn't give us the answers to what we needed to know? What was the point of going if they didn't know more than I did or anyone else the answers to the questions we had relative to the Bible we were reading? It seemed like a huge contradiction, so we left the church. It is at that point that I was on my own, and I continued to read the Bible. I continued to question the Bible. I continued to investigate. And eventually I decided that I didn't believe in Christianity. I didn't believe in the whole story of Jesus. There were information that I was privy to that helped me to make that decision. It wasn't an overnight decision. It was something that I had to think about very deeply and then come up with that conclusion. And then I started to explore other religions because I was still spiritual. I just wasn't Christian anymore. So I would travel to different churches and temples. I would read other Bibles. I had attended the temple in Brooklyn for Hare Krishna, and I would chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. And I think it felt like a good experience because I was exposed to a different culture, the Indian culture, through that, and that was a fun experience. I explored Buddhism. I explored New Age philosophy. I read all kinds of Bibles, the Quran, the Jewish version of the Holy Bible, because I was also interested in Judaism, even though it's technically the same thing as Christianity. I read the Urantia, which is a book in the New Age section that I read. So there was a lot of books. The Bhagavad Gita, I read that. So I had a collection of Bibles, and I was like all into religion and just exploring the richness of spirituality across the globe and learning about different religions and attending, different types of groups, the Jehovah's Witness, the Hindus, the Muslims, the various other denominations of Christians, the Baha'i faith. I practically tried to, explore every rock and nook and cranny of spirituality out there. And if anyone asked me back then, because it was my brother that became atheist before me, if anyone asked me back then and said, hey, would you ever become an atheist? My response to them would have been no way. How, that to me was inconceivable to become an atheist. To have no belief was an inconceivable idea. And my brother became an atheist before me, and we used to have arguments and debates back and forth where he would be against religion and I would be pro-spirituality or pro-religion, because I viewed spirituality separate from religion, even though it's technically the same thing. So at some point I became agnostic, where I was just like, I just don't know. I don't know who's telling the truth. All these religions are pretty much the same, and there's no way to prove that one is more true than the other. It's just people saying mine is true, and that's it, period. So I became agnostic, and then at some point I had to think deeply as to why I'm agnostic. Why do I cling on to these particular belief systems of spirituality? And I'm going to get into that in another video as to how I became an agnostic to an atheist, because it involved meditation, some psychology, self-programming, deprogramming, to put it that way. And it's a bit of a journey there, and I'm going to discuss that in another video where I will introduce people who are agnostic to how to cross that bridge from being an agnostic to being an atheist. And I'm going to show agnostics how to do that. But eventually I just came to the conclusion that spirituality was something that was taught to me as I grew up, and that because it was something that was taught to me mentally and there were no facts behind that, I just eventually became a non-believer in what I would term superstition. It's superstition because it doesn't have any type of facts or information, nothing to back it up. It's just, you just believe in superstitious things. You think the shadow in the corner over there actually has a personality, a mind, and is communicating to you in your dreams or something. So it's kind of like a sense of overactive imagination to be like spiritual. At least that was my perception of it. And becoming what I would say scientific, where I viewed things more on facts and information, was a way for me to just be more sane and focused on more important matters, and not spend so much time worrying about things that for whatever reason just weren't proven to be true. I mean, people associate spirituality with peace, tranquility, love for mankind, and a lot of good stuff. However, spirituality can also be about paranoia, fear, confusion, delusion, where a spiritual person is experiencing a lot of internal pain and suffering because they have all these kind of crazy ideas and beliefs, and they don't really have a religion to hold them down, an organized religion to hold them down, give them structure. So they're all over the place. But I regard, if I can say anything, I would say that I regard being atheist or scientific or into facts and truths to be the highest form of spirituality. If we can talk about, if we're referring to the ultimate truth of life, I wouldn't say that is the ultimate truth of life. I would say that that in terms of like higher steps to reaching truth, I would say that being a scientist or an atheist is actually one of the highest steps. What's above that, I don't know. But I think that that is, in my own opinion, the highest form of spirituality and depth that you can experience. Because it's basically just saying, I follow proof, I follow evidence, I embrace truth, I respect truth, and truth is my God. You know, and there's nothing deeper than that. Than to love, embrace, and support truth. That doesn't make me a saint. It doesn't make me a totally 100% honest person. It just means that in terms of my world view, my view of the universe and of the world around me and life, I'm concerned more with what's true than what just feels comfortable or seems comfortable to me or whatever. I'm looking at the facts of life, and I'm concerned with that more than just what someone else says. So I regard that as a higher form of spirituality. And so I think many atheists are what a lot of spiritual people refer to as enlightened ones. And I'm not trying to say that to sound arrogant. I'm just saying that from my own personal perspective, I feel just as spiritual, just as deep, and just as connected to the world as a person who is quote-unquote religious or quote-unquote spiritual, because they believe in spirits and entities and higher powers and all this stuff and magic. I believe in the mind and in things like hypnosis and various things, the subconscious, and so there's a lot of things that still exist that are somewhat considered superstitious or supernatural in the sense of it's in your mind, and so there's more going on than what meets the eye. So I would not say that I've oversimplified life. I think that in terms of, here's the way I put it, and I'm going to make it very simple for you to understand. When you're religious and you're spiritual, it's like you're drinking alcohol and you feel buzzed and you feel good and you have this warm feeling inside, and you're drinking the bottle and your world view is distorted, but you think you're right and you think you're connected with your friends and your family and everyone around you, and you're drinking that alcohol, and the rest of humanity is also drinking that juju juice. They're drinking the alcohol and they're drunk. Okay, so religion and spirituality is a form of being drunk, and this is kind of like my metaphor for this. And you put the bottle down and you say, you know what, I'm not going to drink from that bottle anymore. I'm going to become sober, and I'm going to look at the world as it really is, as it is around me. Screw the hardship, screw whatever it is that's out there that's bad. I'm going to face it head on. It's a risky move, but I'm going to put this bottle down. Okay, I'm going to become sober and look at the facts. No more alcoholic goggles. So you put the bottle down. Now, it doesn't mean that once you put that bottle down, you got the answers to all the problems of your life. It only means that now your eyes are open, and now you can truly confront those problems that you think you dealt with by drinking the bottle. And so, metaphorically, the bottle is religion. And so I don't believe that atheism is the answer to the world's problems. I don't believe that atheism is the answer to a person's problems. I only believe that it is a step in the right direction to finding real, sincere, genuine solutions to one's personal life and the problems that face the world. It's putting down the spiritual bottle and saying, you know what, I'm going to keep it real. And that is, okay, how I perceive atheism or being scientific. Okay, it's just simply being sober, awake, aware, and looking at truths and facts and information, logic, and making the right connections without hocus pocus. And that is just my opinion. That is my journey, and that's my perspective on the whole thing. Thank you for watching. Leave any comments, questions below. Subscribe. Thanks. Bye.